I guess it helps if I add myself back to the show. How y'all doing, everyone? This is JW. I'm here by myself tonight. Um, Not totally by myself. I mean, as I'm hosting the show by myself. So we're going back in time to the solo days. But welcome to the Hooligan Alley Hangout. We're finally back, and we do have a guest with us this evening. Hold on a second till I get on the right thing. Um, uh, Vera Sam, or Sam Vera, is here tonight, and bring him on the show. He has a book that's on Kickstarter right now called no geez, there's an alien in my toilet. So we'll bring Sam on. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How's it going?
All right. Jeez, hold on. I gotta like get off of my Facebook, or people will keep messaging me, and that'll bug me all night. So let's shut that down and silence my phone. I'll be nice and silence my phone. But anyway, so this is issue 2 of "There's an Alien in My Toilet," correct?
Yes, yes. I see red people.
So I see red people. Oh, I know. I was like, okay. We'll have to let everyone see that later so they can figure out why it's that way. But anyway, how did this book come about? Like, I mean, obviously that is a strange name.
Right.
So how did this idea begin?
This is very different from anything else I've created because a lot of the stuff I created been with me my whole life. Duty came to me because we met newspaper editor for a local paper who was looking for was liked what we did and was interested in a sci-fi comedy comic strip for the paper. So I'm going through the Lincoln Tunnel, and then bam, he just showed up in my head. Duty just he says, "Hi, I'm Duty from Uranus," and so I hop and meet with my buddies, and I was like, "There's an alien on my toilet. His name is Duty. He's from the planet Uranus," and everyone was like, "You're crazy." And so that was that was the birth of Duty, and then so I started out doing the strip, and then I was like, you know what? I want to make this into a full book. I'm not going to do the strip, and then from that point on, it just took on a life of its own.
So you never did any of the comic strip?
No, I decided to do it for myself. I was like, you know what?
Uh,
I'm going to self-publish. I'm going to do this. The character I fell in love with him from the start. I mean, I designed the first look is very different from his current look. And but I designed it immediately, and then I just started drawing the pages, and then the dialogue came after. So it was almost as if he was directing my hand. It
yeah.
was just like it was like an energy was just having me just bring him to life.
Nice, nice. And so, what made you decide to make this an all ages book compared,
Well,
where?
because I'm a big fan of Charles Schultz, Jim Henson. I mean, I grew up with the Dark Crystal, the Muppets, you know, and with Peanuts, and so for me, it's what got me into comics was the stuff that influenced me as a kid, and so I believe it starts there. I think the next generation of comic readers and comic creators are the youth, and there's so much adult content, and I just want to be able to give back the way I was given when I was a kid.
Yeah, awesome. Is there anything the readers should know going into issue 2, since this is if someone hadn't read issue 1, is there anything they should know going into it?
Well, issue two, you're really gonna start to learn about Duty's psyche because you learn in issue one that he's a little arrogant. He thinks he's the smartest, best thing in the world, in the universe, and he's so smart, but he forgets to refuel, so he crash lands, right? So, and that's where it starts. So in issue two, you'll find out about his alter ego, and what really makes him tick, and how he reacts to adversity, and the persona he takes on when he's in the face of when he's about to be defeated. Hey, what's up, Nita? Um, so what happens is in real life he's always getting whooped, right? So in his imagination he becomes a larger life personality. So in this series you'll see some sample pages on the Kickstarter. You'll see him as a samurai, right? And you see that these red ants, which is the pun, I see red people, they become ninja in his mind. So in his imagination he's going to take out the ninja horde.
Yes, awesome. Um, And I know you were on the show last year with a different book. So what else have you've done for if anyone do you have out there? If someone likes this book and they would like to read some more of your stuff.
I mean, I've done. I think I don't know if I was for Forbidden on your show. I think it was Forbidden.
Yeah.
I've done Forbidden, which is more adult. It's a fantasy based action adventure series. It's completed. It's a 160-page graphic novel. Um, uh, I've created that. I have a book called Catch the Crazies, which is about my story and my buddy George as comic creators and podcasters, and how and it's really it's part truth and part fantasy, right? So back in '06, '05, when I launched Cast the Craze podcast, we were one of the hottest podcasts in comics, right? And we had everybody on our show, and we were having, I mean, thousands and thousands of streams. We didn't know what that was. I was too dumb for my own good. So um but then I left comics for 10 years. So I left. George stood in comics, right? So there was a void, for George, and there was a void for me. Like I felt unfulfilled. So, the first issue of Catch the Crazies, you see me, in the corporate world, and you know, driving by the Javits Center and seeing New York Comic Con and the cosplayers, and so I decided to come back to comics, and so now I bring back the podcast with George, and we don't have the same found success we did back in the days. So my character goes into the woods, and I shout out to the universe, and I said, "Help me be the best podcast in the universe." And the universe answers in the form of the Crazy Man, a hippie with an afro and bell bottoms that comes from the seven realms. And he convinced the elders in the seven realms to allow him to bring the crazies to Earth, and they stop bopping you over the head, and now you're addicted to the show. So now there's this mass pandemic of people walking like zombies who are addicted to Catch the Craze podcast, and we're getting hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and now we're on an investigation, and we have to try to catch the crazies and stop the madness because it's got under control. So that's that comic book. So I have those three that I published, and I do a line of children's books as well.
And you have a place where the people could grab those books if they wanted.
Yes, everything's on icreatestories.com or crazycomics.com with two E's and not a Y.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and look over the Kickstarter if I can remember how to do this. I'm terrible. I have to read it every time. I'm like, okay, no, I need to do this. That's why I need a producer to do all that stuff for me. I'm terrible. All right. And I hate this because I can't see what we see. So I see what I see. All right. So this is There's an Alien in My Toilet, issue 2.
Yes.
To evade swarming ants, he becomes a samurai. He is prepared for a group of wild. Oh, is he? So I can't even read tonight. Hilarious adventures of Duty from Uranus. And that's just. All right. So let's see. We're at $876. Your gold's only $1,000. So that's, and you still have what, little less than 4 weeks to go. So that shouldn't be a problem at all, really. See, so this is you get a magnet if you backed issue 1. Is that what it is? Special.
Yeah. So if you came back for issue 2, you'll get that free in your package in the mail. If you're a physical backer, if you're a digital backer, you'll get a digital version of that. But if anybody's who's listening to this episode right now and they backed it and never backed it before, they'll get the magnet as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So.
And if you didn't back 1, but you backed The Adventures of Wonder Duck by my boy George, and you back this, then you'll get the magnet as well. So there's an incentive for everybody.
Yeah. Back to Wonder Duck.
Yeah.
Right. And then the first 100 backers, is that it gets that print?
Yes, we'll get that print. Physical backers will get it physically, and digital backers will get it digitally. So that's another incentive. Last campaign we had 86. So if we get to 100, then everybody will get that free print.
Nice. Yeah, it's always nice. You see a lot of campaigns where they give stuff to the physical backers and the digital backers kind of get, well, you got your book. That's and that's about it. But it's nice to see someone actually giving that out to. So this is just our recap of the story and what like you had told us before.
Yeah.
All right. So it says you have issue 1 and want to learn the answers were correct to the trivia. The answer key is in this issue. So what's that? There was a trivia
So
page in the.
yes, so every issue of There's Nail in My Toilet, there are 4 pages of activities, trivia questions, and puzzles. It's to encourage reading. It's to encourage research, right? And just learning as a whole. So if anyone who wants to, you can go on Google and find out if your answers are correct anyway. But if you wanted to verify, you'll be able to do it in the second issue. So for every book, the consecutive follow-up issue will have the answer key.
Nice. That's good. It's like like you said, it's more than just here's a comic book, get out of here.
Yeah.
It gives something else. So is that the main cover, or is that a?
That's the main cover. And then there's 2 variant covers. There's this cover right here, which was influenced by Gunslinger Spawn. It's an homage to Gunslinger Spawn's cover. And
Nice.
and then there's the homage to Wolverine from 19.
Oh yes.
Yes, you remember that one? That was
Yeah.
that was my
It took.
favorite cover.
I didn't see it until you said that. I was like, oh no, yeah.
Yes.
No,
So this will be a stretch. That's a stretch goal. When that stretch goal is unlocked, then you can get that cover for $5.
oh,
Yeah, so that'll be normally when I do homage covers, it's like 15 or more. So for this campaign, when we unlock, once first we got to make goal. So,
Yeah.
but when we unlock that stretch goal, everyone will be able to get that for $5.
nice.
And it's limited to 100 copies. So,
All right. And here's you said the preview pages. So
yeah, that's the two. Yeah.
they kind of remind you. I can't. Now my brain just went. When I looked at this earlier, I thought, oh, that looks like the story of the guy who lands in the little people.
Like Gulliver's Travels.
Gulliver's Travels. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what that kind of reminded me of. For the ants are like all over. I said the ants are little, and then this is his dream where he's a.
He sees them, and then he starts dreaming that he's a samurai and they're ninja.
Nice.
Which is why I thought that Wolverine homage was fitting for it. Yeah. And there he goes. He's ready to strike.
And then here's a sample of those activities that you have in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Like how to draw.
Yes.
That's cool. Do you come up with all that? Like some of those scrambled words I was looking at, I picked them out right away. And some other ones I'm like, what is that word? Like,
yeah, so I do all of this. In fact, I have in this campaign the first ever full activity book, 24 pages, that's available in this campaign as well. I spent a lot of time putting it together, and there's everything, the questions, everything.
Wow. And I take it's all like kind of alien sci-fi based stuff.
Yeah, so everything's based on the book and on science, and so it's on the solar system. It's on a lot of science-based questions too.
Oh, that's cool. And then you have trading cards.
Yes, which is going to be a full tabletop trading card game, and so this is the second volume in a series, and every campaign is going to have another volume of gameplay cards, but the full game won't be available to the end of next year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So these are like special cards. Because if you get back it and then
Yeah, so you can start collecting them, and not only that, in this campaign is the guidebook to Duty and Friends, which is all the characters that will be introduced in future issues. So you can get a jump start on the characters, their strength levels, all that stuff, whatever. So when the gameplay book comes out and the board game comes out, you'll be ahead of the curve.
Nice. And then you have some. I'm trying to. Oh, just I don't forget what they're called. Blurbs from people who've read the first issue. Quotes. That's
Yes.
it. My, today, my brain has been shut off for some reason. Like, I got in the wrong car today.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I come out of the store and I go to a car, open the door, and the person I was with, they're like, wrong car. And I'm like, it doesn't even look the same. We were in like an SUV and this was a car. I'm like,
Nice.
what am I doing?
Nice.
And then here's some from issue 1.
Yes, that's when he first crash lands on Earth.
I always wondered what Uranian looked like. Was the bird poking his head or the strap? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, what? Nice. And then you have the add-ons. So you have the magnet for $3.
Yes, it's a 3-inch by 4-inch magnet. It's pretty big.
Yeah. Oh, it's a print.
Yeah, those prints. Yeah, 8x8.
Duty Herman, I take it, is the dog.
Yes, Herman is the Chihuahua who Duty encounters in issue 3.
Super Duty.
Yes. And behind him is the diabolical egomaniac overlord nemesis Poo Poo.
Please tell me, like, there's probably a lot of like potty jokes in this book, isn't there?
No, there isn't. And but you know, the wordplay is the best part.
And
Then
then
there's Duty's Adventures. Yes, so Duty's Adventures is a kid's book, and it's basically young Duty, growing up on his planet. You'll learn how he becomes who he is. And in this issue, he's being bullied in school, so he turns in his mind. He turns himself into Super Duty, and he turns the bully into the Poo Poo, and he has to face off with his nemesis.
Nice. Mandy Pandy.
Yeah, so add-ons, these are kids' books that I did. That was actually illustrated by my buddy Hector Rodriguez, aka Hero. I wrote the stories based on my niece Amanda. You know, I couldn't draw it at the time because I was drawing a series for There's Nails on My Toilet. So you know, Hector, I got him to do it, and he did a fantastic job with it.
Nice. Scary Airy.
Yeah, it's basically my other niece. And it basically is about, you know, there's a rumor that a little girl made all the kids in a small town disappear, and it starts off with the mom telling the kids at a sleepover the story, and you have to determine whether or not the story is real or not. And then I commissioned these guys from the Philippines, Big Cat Studios, to do the illustration for it.
Nice. That's cool. The Adventures of Cosmic Gorf.
Yes, so Duty makes a cameo in this series, and Cosmic Gorf I created when I was a kid. I have a comic book called Cosmic Wars, which was the first one I ever published on my under my banner Crazy Comics. So in this series, actually commissioned Maciek Empro from Poland. He did the interiors, and basically it's Gorf and Reina and Duty on the bus going to school, and they decided to skip school, and it was a big mistake because now they have to escape the clutches of nebuloids. And they regret the decision quickly, and they have to try to get back home.
So that's his full name, Dudarius?
Dudarius Uranius, yes.
Nice. And that issue 1.
That's issue 1, yes. First Flush. And the cover was done by my buddy George. And then there's the activity book. There's the full 24-page activity book. And it's all sorts of fun inside the book. And currently, before this show, I'm working on dutiesworld.com.
Mm-hmm.
which is all encompassing. And supporters of duty can subscribe to the website, and they'll be able to get all the answers to all the activity books. And there's going to be a lot of incentives to be a part of the duties world.
Nice. And you said you're working on that site now?
Yeah, I've been working on it since 7 a.m. this morning.
Wow.
I want to launch it by Monday. So yeah, I've been busy.
Uh, and that's the character guide you were talking about.
Yes, that's the guidebook to Duty and Friends. Yes.
Ooh, and there's a coloring book?
Yep. So for me, Duty is a lifestyle brand. For me, it's all encompassing, and so I want to be able to cover as many avenues as possible, to give supporters of Duty as many options. Whether it's the guidebook, the trading card game, the coloring book, the activity book, the children's book. I just want to be able to just create a universe just around Duty, which is when you asked me about the stuff that I created before. One of the things that I realized is that um, I was doing a lot of things, and so now my focus now is specifically just Duty. So going forward from this point on, my other stuff they're already done. I won't be working on any other projects except for Duty for the next couple of years.
Nice. Nice. And what's this?
And this is Arg. It's a short story prose that I wrote. It's about a goblin born into a human family. So he's half goblin, half human, and he has a decision to make. Protect the family and the people that he loves that really disown him because of what he looks like. That's why he got the name Arg, because the mom screamed at birth, and that became his name. And or open up the gates to the goblin world and let them wreak havoc on Earth. So he has a choice to make, and so he's caught between a rock and a hard place.
Oh, that sounds cool. And then a sticker pack.
Yes.
I see a lot of different duties.
Yes, and that's because, and you'll find that in the series, he takes on a lot of different personalities and persona, which is why the main template for Duty is there's no clothing, and because he takes on all these characters.
I'm a dudester.
And that's the homage cover to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 30. That comes signed and numbered with a certificate of authenticity. Only 100 were produced, and I think I'm down to like 50 left.
And that's issue 1?
That's from issue 1, yes. And those are and below is the variant covers from issue 1, the Matrix cover and the Rambo cover. Those are also were limited prints.
And then there's the Crazies.
Crazies, yes. It's collect 1, 2, 3, full color. And then there's Forbidden, the first 3 issues below, in color, or you can get the full, complete 160-page graphic novel, which is in black and white. There, the colored version will be done at the end of the year, and it'll be distributed into stores.
Awesome.
And then you can get a commission sketch cover.
And t-shirts.
Yes, and the t-shirts.
That looks like a little bit. What's that movie? That horror movie from the 80s, where the thing's coming out of the toilet.
In the 80s.
Yeah, it was like Chug. I don't know. It's a terrible 80s horror movie where there's this creature crawling out of the toilet. It's this little green thing. And it kind of things that come to my brain.
And then, so like the last campaign, I had a tier for the comic book for kids, and where I was able to send 25 books to Comic Book for Kids, and that was the feedback from the president. I said, Sam, we received the books today, had a chance to review it myself, and loved it. Heck, I even had fun with the quiz. Can't wait to get these out. The kids are going to love them, and that was amazing. So I'm hoping to double that right now. So far we have 2 backers that added those on. So far 10 are on will be sent. So I'm hoping by the end of the campaign to be able to double what we sent last time. And it goes to the kids in the hospitals that are diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
Yeah. And the reason why this is important to me is because when I was a kid, my brother spent most of his childhood in the hospital with a defective liver. And when I would go visit him, he would have all these toys that were donated from charity. So when I saw that, and I saw that he would draw, he drew three monkeys in a barrel. It inspired me. So when Russell Allen told me about this, I jumped at it. I was like, oh, it was my way of being able to give back the way that people gave to my brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Not bad. And that's only $35 to get 5 books. Is it
Yes, go straight
5 books?
to the charity, and for every five, I add another one myself. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
I mean that's not bad at all.
yeah. What's up, Luke?
I didn't even. Hey, that's the problem. I'm over here. I can't see what people are saying to me. Uh, and then you have duty figures, 6-inch duty figures.
Yes, that's Army duty, and by the end of the year, I'm going to have a series of different figures, but this is the first of many.
And there's only 5 available.
It's only five available. I originally started with 10, so we're down to five.
Okay, so there's. And then here's your rewards. You have the obviously the digital tier for $5. You have it's issue 1 and 2 for 10.
Yeah, digital.
Yeah, and then you can get the physical and the digital of issue 2 for 10. Um, the volume 2 trading cards. I thought I turned my volume off. World. All right. I don't know what's up with this phone.
Popular tonight.
Yeah, and I can sit here by myself all day and not hear one thing from anybody. And so, sorry about that.
No
But
problem.
you also have the Volume 2 trading card set
Yes.
for $10. Variant. The variant is 15. The
Yo, Maj,
yeah. Yeah, I was trying to remember. It was I knew it was Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn,
Gunslinger Spawn, yeah.
which I have that and probably in my room because
I have that too. I'm just a big Spawn fan. I love Todd McFarlane.
me too. Just to change, not to like change the subject, but I know earlier this week. Oh my gosh, Travis Gibb. I don't know if you know Travis. He had posted if anybody's reading Spawn, he has some questions, and I was like, I've been reading it, but I don't know how good I am at answering because sometimes it gets a little confusing.
Yeah, that's Todd. Yeah, Todd. For you for a little. What? What just happened here?
Yeah, I got to go back and reread last issue, see if I'm
catching
this right. Yeah. All right. So there's 1 and 2 physical and digital for 20. Well, and then you have where you get all 7 covers for $70. So that's cool. Were the variant covers limited to?
Yeah. They're basically all the variant covers only produced 100 copies. So once they're gone, they're gone. So they're available on this campaign until they're out.
And then you got a retail bundle and the super collector that gives you a bunch of junk. Well, not junk, but that's my word for stuff. For $200, well, you get like books and there's T-shirts and cards and
Buttons and
stickers
and
everything. Jeez, it looks like pins and okay. And then there's the Ultra one, and that gives you everything you've done. It looks like
everything I've ever produced so far,
and plus everything from the other.
Yeah,
and that's only $275. So, and then there's your team. Obviously, there's you and all right. I'm terrible at names, so.
So it's just So it's George lettered the book. Barbara Soroji, she did the colors in the series.
Nice. All right, and I think that's it. So, like I said, I wish they had just a back to the top button, so you don't have to like scroll and give people sick.
They got to work on a lot of things. Even when you're designing the campaign, if you delete something, it takes you back to the top.
Yeah.
You got to go back again, and it's like, come on, why can't you just drag and drop? And drop.
But so you still have, like I said, 26 days left, and you only need $124. So if you could just sell one of the big things,
I did. I got one backer. I got one big backer so far. And he's a regular. He's been very supportive of all my campaigns. Um, uh, so yeah, there's we got 26 days, but there's an incentive. Anybody who's watching the show and you pledge today, physical pledge, you'll get this magnet right here, which is
Man.
3x4 of Super Duty. It's a pretty big magnet. And um, if you're a digital backer, you'll get a digital version of that.
Nice. And what size are your digital prints? I guess it doesn't really matter. You can print it to whatever you want, really.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and but the physical is this is 3 inches by 4 inches.
Nice. Oh, that's nice. All right. Let's see how much. We still have a lot of time. So usually I have someone here and they can help me along. So I'm kind of just like, I ran through my questions really quick. Let me see what else I can. I don't even know. I don't even have my silly questions because I don't know. I don't know if I asked you this, but we'll ask one anyways. This is a question I like to ask everybody. If you were a dinosaur, what dinosaur would you be and why?
A pterodactyl,
Why a pterodactyl?
because I can fly above all the nonsense and stay perched on a tree and watch all the knuckleheads get eaten up, and then I'll just go in for the pickings.
Nice. Yeah, I always tell people, but you can't be a T Rex because that's like everyone's cop out answer.
Yeah, everybody wants to be a T-Rex. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be a T-Rex because you're angry all the time. I don't want to be angry.
And you can't reach anything.
No, I'd rather just fly, enjoy the scenery, chill.
I always tell everybody I would be a vegetarian rhinoceros. Well, not a vegetarian. I mean, a meatitarian
A
rhinoceros. Because rhinoceros are already vegetarians, but I would be a meatitarian rhinoceros.
There you go.
A carnivore.
There you go.
Yeah, because but I'm trying to think if I had anything else. This show went really fast tonight. See, when Katrina's here, I can last 2 hours. So this is the only thing you have that you're working on. You said from now on.
From now on, I'm just focusing on all my other projects are done. So, when I decided to come back in comics in 2019, I wasn't sure what I was going to produce. And so I started out with Forbidden, and then the Crazies, and then when I decided to bring Duty back to the game, I forgot how much I loved it, and I just came back from Licensing Expo. So, and when I was there, everybody reminded me why I need to continue to develop this brand, and so that's my focus, which is why I'm designing dutiesworld.com, which I took down 10 years ago, and so I'm redoing the whole thing. Because back then I designed it with Dreamweaver, and nobody uses Dreamweaver anymore.
Yeah.
So now I'm doing the whole thing, trying to make it as interactive and visually appealing as possible, and then my whole focus is really just finishing the series, working on finishing the game, and all the other layers to Duty as a brand as possible. And my focus is getting it into stores and into schools and libraries.
Nice. And do you see this as like an ongoing series, or is it a?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring my whole goal, which is why my focus is going to be singular with Duty, is really to try to be as long lasting as Peanuts, Calvin and Hobbes. My goal is to really bring Duty out, and it's gonna. So, in order for that to happen, I needed to make it my focus, and so everything else is done. Like I won't take on any projects for anyone. Just focusing on this.
Nice. It's actually a good thing because there's too many creators that like try to get 5, 6 things going at one time, and then nothing ever gets done.
Yes, and that's what happens. I had a lot of half full cups, and so for me, it's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to take all those cups and try to fill up this one cup and just focus. And it really was my time in Licensing Expo last week. It was just all the meetings that I had. It was just a reminder of why I need to make this my priority.
Yeah, yeah. Have you done any like comic shows?
I
Or
am.
cons or
Yeah, on the 17th through the 19th, I'll be at Dallas Fan Expo. It's the biggest one in Dallas. It's
Texas?
80, in Texas, yeah, Dallas, Texas. This is where I live. As it brings in 80,000 fans,
Wow.
so I'll be there in June, and then in August I will be at the Denton art exhibit, and it's a basically a children's family event, and that brings in about 5,000 people. So I'll be there. And then in October, I'll be doing Fan Expo again, and
Mm,
that'll be the end of my run for this year. And then hopefully next year, San Diego Comic Con and MegaCon in Florida.
nice. How has your experience at cons? Like, I know because have a lot of friends and they all go to different cons, and some of them, you know, aren't too keen on them right now. How's been your experiences?
Well, so it depends. So like I did a show in Long Island, Eternal Con, I believe that's what it was. It was not a good show for me because it was all cosplay. It
Hmm.
was, and I've never seen cosplayers with wallets. They
Yep.
they just have cameras and cell phones, and that's all they do is take photo shoot. But I did a ZoloCon. ZoloCon is a collector show, and it's all vintage toys and collectors. And I decided to go there as one of maybe a dozen artists, and I had the best show. I mean, I made back my hotel, I made back my table, and I made back everything I printed for the event. Uh, Very successful. So for me, um, uh, it all depends on the event. I think Dallas Fan Expo will be a really good event for me. It's gonna be the whole focus is going to be duty. So my entire booth is going to be just duty. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be my first time here at Dallas Expo. And with that many people, if I can get 100 of those people, I'm good
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'll make back everything I spent. And I do make a lot of money on commissions.
As a former cosplayer, I can guarantee you that we do not have wallets.
No,
Well,
I know. They come by, they're like, "Oh, it's cool stuff. I got no money," and they go off to step repeat to take your photos, and everyone's having
yep.
fun and meetups with their friends, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Usually when I do it, like the Sunday would be the day I didn't dress, so I could like come back and buy all the stuff I saw the rest of the time.
yeah,
But I had a friend, Courtney, and we'd always do it. And some of my costumes were actually because men tend to have pockets,
yeah,
so I would be the one who had to carry everything. So I'd have her wallet, I'd have my wallet, I'd have her phone, I'd my. It's just like my pockets are just like bulging, and I'm like, God dang it, why do I have to carry everything?
yeah.
Because then she would buy something, and then I'm like, "What are you gonna do with that?"
Right there, you go.
I was like, "No, I gotta carry that too."
Yeah,
Yeah. So I can agree, and I know it just here in Pittsburgh we have like two. I wouldn't say I don't know if you call them major cons, but we have two that are like the cons that are here. One is still City Con, which
yes,
takes place like every 4 months or something, and that's in next month, I believe. And this weekend is Three Rivers Con, and if two cons cannot be more different, like
right.
Still City Con started a couple years ago by the guys who run New Dimensions Comics in
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, and that is a strictly like a comic book show. Like they don't have any like their idea of a celebrity is a professional comic book creator. Like guy
Right.
worked.
Yeah.
So it's very much geared towards comics. Like I said, that's this weekend. And then Still City Con, I don't even know why. Like, it's a pop culture thing. Like that's. I mean, that con started, it was actually the Pittsburgh Toy Show,
Right.
and I'd go there, and it was like a toy yards. I mean, like a flea market, because there would be literally people with parts lists that they needed to fix their GI Joe guys, and there
Wow.
would be like there's like I don't know, like this little fish tackle box things, and they'd all have like parts, and there'd be those O rings, and like all this like stuff, and
Right.
then it started like they bring in a couple celebrities, and now it's like a pop call. It's like two. It's in two rooms. The first room is still like that flea market kind of feel, where it's
Right.
always the same vendors and they have all kinds of stuff. And then the back is they call it Artist Alley, but it's more like three artists and craft and celebrities.
Wow.
But because I know a couple, or no, I don't remember. I know who it is, but I can't think of his name. He went there last year and he sold out of his books, which I was like, that's amazing because no one ever buys comics at that show.
Wow.
I've had like well known artists go there and tell me I'm never going back. I didn't, I didn't make any money, and it's crazy. So that's why I was wondering. I always tried to see like what, because I've done shows too. Like one, I sat there all weekend and didn't sell anything. Like I didn't make a dime.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I've had that kind of show. Um, at least in the early days. In fact, when I decided to come back to comics in 2019, I went and did a show in a mall, and I didn't sell one book. All I sold was commission sketch cards.
yeah, I didn't. It was I give away stuff. That's like because I had a little sign like, if you come in costume, I'll draw you a sketch card of your character, like and that's what I end up doing the whole weekend just to give me something to do. We were just in a bad location. He put the artists like right across from the celebrities. Um, so I got to see Power Rangers all day.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there's always some ranger at every
Yeah,
show that I've seen. Whether it's the Green Ranger or it's always somebody there.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, you had a question from Stuart, Michael
yeah.
Greens.
Which said, do the new vendors make money at these shows, or is online sales better? Well, the problem is usually, I mean, I can't say they don't. It all depends on what show and what you
Yeah,
have. I
it
think.
all depends on, again, it's every state and every customer base is different.
Yeah,
And
and,
so you don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work. And I think that what the only thing recommend I would have is engagement. Make sure you're standing, make sure you're greeting, make sure you're smiling, and try to do your pitch on everybody that passes your table.
yeah,
uh, that's going to make the difference between you making a buck or not making a buck.
yeah,
Really, because they all have choices and you're not on the top of the list, so it's that connection that's going to make the difference.
yeah.
And sometimes it's only a 30-second pitch that you can deliver, and that might be enough for them to stop.
And sometimes I think when you first start out, it's hard because no one knows your book, no one knows your name, no one, so they're more likely to just like skip over you.
Yeah.
But if you stick it out, if you like, you go to that same show a couple times, like still CityCon's a little bit easier to do because it's 3 times a year, and it's but or it's 3 times, I guess, every 4 months. But because usually as a cosplayer, I know we'd see the same people at every show,
Yeah.
and so you get to know those people more, and then it's more likely, if they see you or at other shows, they're like, oh, I remember seeing this guy at this show, and then they're more likely to kind of maybe stop and just talk to you because that's usually how I, just talk to the people and kind of build a relationship. What about charity artists? I don't know what you're asking, Scott. Like, what about like people who do charity, or because the artist is somebody who has like autism or something like that? And I also figure like I don't know about you, but I know when you first start out, if you can get into an anthology, do some anthologies first, and that way you don't just get your name on stuff. You get to work with other people who can then get you to into some other. I mean, that's how I got started with Travis, and now I've worked with Travis on almost everything, and he gets me work outside of his stuff. He shares
Right.
my name, so it's more. You have to, like I said, you have to build up those relationships with people.
Yeah, build up your community. If you want to, like I have a DeviantArt. I'm on communities in Facebook. I think it's build a community. And then what you'll be like. For instance, I'm meeting 12 people that I've met online at the Fan Expo in Dallas.
Yeah,
that if I only know them from chats and from from groups or from my podcast. So it's going to be nice to be able to meet these people in person.
Yeah, yeah. There's always like commissions. See, my brain ain't working. Anthology stuff for different causes.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can find like if you can find one that's kind of goes with what you want to help, and that's a way to get started.
Yeah.
Because
To answer the question though, for me, how I spread the word is I did a lot of localized. So like right now, I'm new to Texas. I've only been here since August last year. Right now, it's about getting my name out here. When I was in New York, I did a lot of the local shows. So I built a community around that. I have my podcast. So, people know about what I do through the podcast. And in the podcast, I interview hundreds of independents. So because of that, there's a network going on, right? And then what happens is you meet all these people when you're traveling at shows, and then there's this collective that's formed. And then I've done speaking engagements at schools, and so I think it's you got to do the grassroots work is what works the best. Social media is just a tool, but we got to remember that we're human beings, and people like put a face to the creator. And I try to go out as much as possible. I did a few signings in my past at bookstores, and that's what I need to do out here in Texas. So right now, really, I'm starting from scratch out here in Texas.
yeah, it's like I said, you gotta get out there and get to meet the people who you want to buy your or support you. So
Yeah, that's the best base. I mean, that's why I'm excited about Fan Expo in 2 weeks. It's going to be my first time in Texas at a big show, and then not only that, I'm excited about meeting all the people that are the supporters of my podcast or I've met online. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
are you still doing the podcast?
Yeah, Catch the Craze. We're up
Yeah.
to 400 and episode 400, and I forgot 70. I think it is.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just brought mine back 2 weeks ago. Me and a couple other guys. The comic book geeks podcast. We kind of just do some review stuff, talk about whatever's going on, and then I bring on somebody to interview, like a short interview we do with them.
Right.
So we just finally, I mean, like I said, this will be our third episode this week. So we'll see how that goes. The first one we had Raven Gregory on. I don't know if you know Raven, but he's a character and a half. He used to write for Zenoscope.
Okay. I know Zenoscope.
Yeah, so he warned me before the show. He's like, he said, "Am I allowed to swear?" I was like, "I don't care. I ain't making any money yet, so do what you want."
I don't care. Whatever they do, I put up the TV on immediately. Boom.
Yeah, so do I have that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, but that's the kind of stuff we get into. So
nice.
Yeah. So let's. I hate Kickstarter. I wish Kickstarter would let you do a nice, easy link so you could tell. I shared it in the chat, but I was trying to think. I guess if you want to back it, you could go to Kickstarter and just search. If you don't have that link that I put in the chat, there's an alien in my toilet, and I'm sure that'll bring it up. And you want to share your websites again so people can find you.
Right now it's icreatestories.com or crazycomics.com, but that's all going to change next week to dutiesworld.com. And yes, you can check me out there, or you can follow me on social media anywhere at Catch the Craze, which is right on the screen. Catch the Craze with a DA, not a THE. And my podcast is a weekly podcast, and I have about 4 shows a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so on Mondays it's the Crazy Intent or Less, where I cover specific topics, either given to me by supporters and listeners of the show, or industry-related topics. I do it in 10 minutes or under. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're usually interviewing guests. Thursday mornings at 9 a.m., we have the Morning Brew with the Crazy Crew, where George and I are talking about follow up to what I did on a 10-minute segment on Monday, but we're also taking questions and chatting with our live audience on Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Fridays, we have pre-recorded interviews that air on Fridays. And then I was doing What's in the Box, but I put that on hold because I'm on convention mode right now.
Nice. So you stay busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We'll make sure we share out all of that stuff in the comments and all that good stuff, and hopefully we can get this funded in the next few days. Like I said, you only need $124, and you have 26 days. So.
And if you backed it because you watched this show, you get this free magnet.
There you go. You get the magnet.
Yes.
So we bow to you.
Only one? Is that Obi-Wan or?
I don't know.
Okay.
But anyways, thanks for coming on. And yes, and I forget what I was going to say. But you come back anytime you want. I'm glad to have you on here.
Thanks,
and
buddy.
Hopefully we'll see you for issue 3.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Good night. All right. So that was our show tonight. I want to thank Vera Sam for coming on and sharing his book, There's an Alien in My Toilet, issue 2. It's funding right now on Kickstarter. You can get there and back that, or you can go to his website that I totally forgot already because I didn't write it down because my brain is fried. But I will get that information. And then don't forget to check out tomorrow night. We'll be recording our Comic Book Geeks podcast at 9 p.m. And then you'll be able to download that the next day and wherever you get your podcasts. We'll have, don't think we have anybody for the show this week, but next week, hopefully Katrina will be back with me. And what is tomorrow next week? I'm lost. Anyway, we'll have a show next Friday. Excuse me. And on next week's Wednesday show, it actually usually records on Wednesdays, not Saturdays. Edward Davis will be our guest to get interviewed on the Comic Book Geeks podcast show next Wednesday, the 8th. So get out there, have a good weekend, read some comic books, and I have. All right, I'm getting comments now at the end. Anyways, thanks for stopping by. Have a good weekend. Get out there and read some comic books, back some projects. Even if you back a project for $1, it helps. It gets the algorithms let it share out all that information, and it gets more eyes on the project. So get out there and back some projects. Have a good night, and we'll be back again next week. Later.